Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Thank you for joining me on this nice, lovely Sunday morning. At least it is by me. Supposed to be nice weather today. Um, I have Jan alongside again, and
Good
I
morning,
will.
everybody.
Good morning, and I will be back in 30 seconds. And we're back. Today, I figured I was going to go ahead and do a little. It's not really a tribute show or anything, but just recently in the last few days, I had mentioned something about favorite TV shows that we like to watch, and in the last few days, we lost two great, legendary, long time. Um, actually more than two. Another one comes to mind, but we lost a few actors and actresses. One of the actresses we lost is Cicely Tyson. I mean, that woman did so many amazing, wonderful movies. How can we forget the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman? She made that role, and then of course Cloris Leachman, Phyllis from Mary Tyler Moore, and then she later took over Charlotte Ray's spot as her sister on The Facts of Life, which they did a little Cloris Leachman-a-thon on Antenna TV. I didn't catch it all because I had gone out and tried to do a little shopping yesterday, but what I caught of it. And then to make another sad is the man that played Julio, or the guy, and he later went on to be on Barney Miller. The guy that played Julio, Gregory Sierra, he also passed away at the age of 83. So,
What a loss.
it's so funny about the month of January, just the way,
You
things
noticed that too, Steve? Almost every January, it's like a celebrity sweep. I've noticed it. My mom noticed it for years. It's like, what is it with? Oh. Yeah, what tremendous loss, Steve. I so agree with you. I remember getting back to Cicely Tyson for a second, two events, okay, in my life. When I first started the high school that I attended years ago, of course, in New York City, one of the first class trips, we went to see the movie Sounder. Do you remember that one?
Yes, I
That was
do.
my first exposure to Cicely Tyson's talents at when I was the ripe old age of 13. What a genius talent. The second time around was when I saw the then $10,000 pyramid. She was a guest on the show, on the
Oh,
game
wow.
show.
Yes.
Yes, believe it or not, the pyramid show went back as far as 10,000. It was originally broadcasting from New York. So
Mhm.
my mom had gotten, some tickets, and I went with my best friend Jane, who I saluted yesterday on the slam down, on the dedication slam down. Anyway, the beauty, the talent. What an incredible loss for real. What a
Mhm.
week.
Yeah, because I know, that I know that yeah, originally it started out as the 10,000,
Yeah,
and then it stayed that way for a few years in the 70s, and then it went to the 20,000, I think toward the latter
right.
70s, and then I think it dropped off. And then that's when I started watching it, because when I came to the States from overseas, then it was known as the $25,000 pyramid. And
Right.
and then that went on for 2 3 years, and then it became, well, in addition to the 25, you also had the $100,000.
Right.
But right, if I remember correctly, that show goes back to like 1973 when it started.
Yes. 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 And I believe that when my friend Jane and I went, it was so fun watching Dick Clark. He was warming up the audiences in only a way that iconic Dick Clark. Bless your heart too, sir. He was absolutely. He was just so fun with the audience, making us feel so comfortable there and having us laugh. And he was signing, autographing albums and stuff like that. And his album, a collection of the old timey classics that we
Mhm.
still love to this day. But you look back, celebrities, they do make a difference. They sort of become like your household friend, like that face that you're used to looking at. And when they leave us, we feel like we lost something. So hearing this news this week was like, oh gosh,
Mhm. No, I know the exact record or album. It was a 2 record set, and every song on there was anywhere from like 1950, from the early 50s all the way through to like 1972 or 3, and it covered everything in between. I remember the record. My dad had it. I played it multiple times over. That was a nice little plethora collection of music that was on that album, or on that two
Do you
record.
remember how much you paid? He was peddling it in his live audience for $10 plus the autograph. What a deal!
Um,
An authentically signed in front of you album by Dick Clark for
that
10 bucks.
sounds about right. That sounds about right for a 2 record set back in that
Yeah.
time.
Imagine. Good memories. Really, really, really good. I saw some of that salute thanks to you mentioning it to me yesterday, Steve, on the Facts of Life. I was like, looking at her like, wow, what a vibrant talent. I remember Cloris Leachman as far back as the Twilight Zone. She did
Oh
a
yeah.
number of Twilight Zone episodes. One such being with Bill Mumy when he was really wild kid wishing everybody away into the cornfield. She portrayed his mom, if anyone remembers that episode.
Oh yeah. No, I'm a that again. That's another TV show I like to watch. It wasn't horror. It really kept you on your feet. I mean, how
Yeah,
can you not like the Twilight Zone? That was, Rod Serling,
yeah.
and and then you had the Twilight Zone, and then if you remember, somewhere around 19, I don't know, 70, 71, 72, then you have Night Gallery, which is almost the same thing in a way,
Yes.
and so.
It was a takeoff on that show, really.
Mhm.
There were a couple of offshoots of it. I'm trying to think of the actual names, but so many great names and great faces and stuff like that. It's just incredible. But it's amazing. We appreciate everything. After a while, they become old and familiar. And then when they're gone, you're like, wait a minute. You feel like a part of you went with them. It's just
Yeah. It,
incredible. You develop relationships over time in a weird way.
mhm.
But anyway, we're honoring them and we're appreciating them. So if you're listening to us, we appreciated you and we still do appreciate you. Just saying, just
Yes.
saying.
Yes, absolutely.
Steve, I went off of caffeine recently and I sleep a little better. Just saying. I've been, having Sanka, and I'm going to order on my next order Postum, because years ago, that's a multi-grain beverage made with molasses that resembles the flavor of coffee. So if you're avoiding coffee for any reason, you have that, and it's all natural and it's all good for you, and it's worth every little extra cent. So no, this is not a sponsored ad, but I'm just saying, I've been sleeping a heck of a lot. I never thought, I said, nah, it doesn't bother me, the caffeine. Yeah, it doesn't bother me. Until I was starting to wake up like 5 times a night. Like, why am I up again? Why am I awake again? Then imagine getting on a 6:15 a.m. live show, and then people looking at you like someone said to me, "You look so tired." Well, I thought, well, if you're up half the night.
Yeah.
But
I haven't had any coffee in 3 days. Well, wait.
Yeah.
The last cup of coffee I drank was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 4 days. I take that back. Well, because I've been doing. Well, I'm not taking it now. I was. I
Yeah.
stopped taking it Friday. I was taking some homeopathy. So,
Mm.
um, but no, back to where we were. I wanted to talk about.
Sure.
I wanted to talk about some of our favorite TV shows that we like to watch. Again, anything 70s on back, I caught in reruns because one, I was a very small child, and I wasn't here because my dad was overseas. But the 80s is another story. I pretty much watched everything you could possibly. I was a an 80s primetime TV show couch potato, more or less, back in those days. I mean, what was a nice thing this yesterday morning and the day before is I have this channel. It's called Heroes and Icons, HNI. And I looked down at three. I got up around three something. I looked down and I see Hill Street Blues. I said, "What?" Keep in mind, I used to watch that on Thursday nights with, Night Court and all of those shows back. Which was again, Night Court was another great comedy
What a
series.
lineup, huh? Back then. Yeah.
If I wanted to watch Night Court, my favorite all-time bailiff would have to be Selma. She was back in the earlier with the raspy voice that always smoked the cigarettes. There was just something about her I loved. I don't know what it.
She was real. She's realistic. She was relatable. She resonated reality. Not everybody speaks perfectly and has every word enunciated properly constantly. She was the real deal in character. I think that's one of the reasons why many people related to her.
I think so. And then when she passed away, unfortunately, like in between second and third year,
yeah,
they hired another woman to try to fill Florence's shoes. It worked. She was
worked. Yeah.
Her name was Florence. Her name Florence Hallup. She wore glasses. She tried to imitate Selma. She did a fairly decent job. And then, of course, later in you had, Marsha Warfield, which she was, I think, once they found her, they said, okay, this is who we're going to go with. And she's another funny lady comedian. So, but, yeah, I watched pretty much all of your 80s shows, the Golden Girls, Different Strokes.
Don't get me started on the Golden Girls, right?
Yeah, Amen. Oh, wow. Amen. Who's the Boss? Our favorite, Roseanne. The Wonder Years, Moonlighting, Growing Pains, Head of the Class. That's all 80s. I mean, I watched Kate and Allie, yes, Murphy Brown, Designing Women, Newhart.
Yeah. Kate and Allie was so, in my opinion, underrated and should be more in syndication. If anybody out there is watching or somehow listening, bring back more Kate and Allie. Those shows were great. Yeah. Two struggling women, trying to make it, single mom, and that kind of thing. We need to see more of that because that's like real life. I mean, those were breakthrough shows. Keep in mind that like certain subject matter like that didn't come up too much. So I'm really surprised that like doesn't show up in all those classic channels, in my opinion. But everybody's got their own personal taste in TV. But that was an underrated show, in my opinion.
Well, that show, Kate and Allie, was shot right there and it's shot in New York. It was filmed at the Ed Sullivan Theater.
Yeah, that's the same place that I went to see, the Ed Sullivan Theater, the same place where they were recording the Pyramid.
Oh, how interesting. Oh, okay.
They kept what they kept doing was changing things out, like pop up as it went along. We also saw a taping of a show that didn't last at all called Hot L Baltimore. It was supposed to be Hotel Baltimore, but the E was out because like the lighting or something was like a goof on the marquee of the hotel, Hot L Baltimore. That did not last. You could look that one up. We saw that tape. That's where my friend Jane, the one that I honored, mentioned we were waiting to meet. Ever see the show Green Acres? Edward Albert.
Oh yeah.
Well, his son Edward Albert Jr. was on a pyramid show in one of
Oh.
our tapings. Because when you go to a taping, you don't just sit through one show. At that time, we sat through a week's worth of shows. If you wanted to leave in between, you left. But we didn't care. We sat through the 5. So Edward Albert Jr. was on one of them, and we were like, we have to meet him. We have to meet him. So a little backstory to it. So we went around to literally the backstage door area, like where they sneak out. So that's where we met Edward Albert Jr. You might remember him in a movie called Butterflies Are Free back in the 70s.
Yes.
Okay. What a gracious, kind young man. And I couldn't believe I was speaking to the son of, Eddie Albert Sr., whom I watched on Green Acres like my whole life, one of my favorite hilarious shows of the 60s. So he was just the nicest gentleman, and he signed autographs to us, and my friend was smitten with him in the first place. So that's why we made it a point to get to all those places. It was a lot of fun. He's gone too, sadly. Imagine.
Yeah.
Edward Albert Jr. is gone. Yeah.
I was just watching a TV series a couple of days back. It didn't last very long. It was a CBS show. It was like a Western thing. It was, again, like the latter end of the 80s, bleed into the 90s, called Guns of Paradise. It had the man Lee Horsley, who those that don't know who Lee Horsley is, he was pretty well known in the early middle 80s for another role he did called Matt Houston, which was good. And then he did another show prior to that with William Conrad, aka Cannon, and he did a small 1-year came and went called Nero Wolfe, and that was his introduction to Hollywood. But Eddie Albert Jr. was on that episode of Guns of Paradise, and I had seen him in other things. But right now my mind escapes me of what, but I have seen him.
It was a while ago, but what a sweet young man at that time. I was heartsick when I found out he was gone, and wasn't old.
No.
Just sad,
I mean, we don't know. I mean, that's the thing.
None of us know. That's why I'm a firm believer. Make the best of every day. Make the best of it. Just focus on the gift you're given. It's a gift. Every day is a gift. That's why I celebrate my friends. I celebrate my family. I celebrate my Lord. First of all, not all in the same correct order, but first my Lord. But that's me. That's the thing. Just like every day is a celebration. It may not always go your way the way you want it. That's another issue. But it's how you react to things. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I wonder if Granny T is viewing this. Granny T, if you're viewing this, I have a question for you. I don't know if you're viewing this.
No, do ask. Yeah, even if she is or isn't, she'll get it at some point.
Okay, Granny T, if you're viewing this on replay, were you an Elf on a Shelf after with a super chat after my show ended yesterday? Because I received later on in the day a notification on the back office, which I don't see like the results of certain things till later on in the day. In the evening, I usually check on those transactions. And because you wrote, get that P.O. box, something like that. You're a doll. Thank you so much. What a generous donation. Again, you are just absolutely, people like you, anybody that makes a difference in everyone's way, supporting our channels by viewing us, by your channel viewer loyalty. This is wonderful. This is the reason why we keep doing what we're doing, because we really, really appreciate you. So thank you.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, P.O. boxes are good. I might as well go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. I myself have one as well.
Yeah, let the cat out of the bag.
But
But I don't have one.
there's a lot of benefit to having a PO box if you don't want, especially in a world like we live in today, if you don't want to let people know what your address is, where you physically live, you can always give them a PO box. You're going to get mail, that's a given, but
Right.
it keeps people from knowing personal things about you.
In my case, the reason why I have not received, gotten a PO box is the following. Sometimes the post office screws up your mail address, the real one, with your PO box, and then when you're applying for things, they say, "Well, no, that's not you because there's this other thing called a PO box." And that's the reason, in my case, why I've hesitated. Furthermore, there really wasn't a need. Only lately, I mean, on rare occasion, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, somebody would mention it to me. But now I'm hearing this request every time. Honestly, I love gifts. They're very kind, but there could be a problem with theft. So therefore, yeah, sad to say. So therefore, the best way to bless the channel is through super chat or super stickers. That is or PayPal, which is super chat goes on a lot, on the live shows for those that pass the requirements with passing 1,000 subs and all that requirements. But the safest way to convey your blessing is that way. The other way, there's always room for loss. It's true. This is a big city. These are crazy times, and unfortunately, in that area. But there's always PayPal.me if you miss my live chat, because I'm working on a project, Steve, as I mentioned last week. One of the, by the way, options for any of those that have contributed, in case you're viewing this show, is you could schedule with me a personal one-on-one chat for a few minutes on video chat. I'd love to meet you in person and give you a personal thank you and say how you doing and chew the fat, shoot the breeze. So you just have to, let me know, and I'll let you know the details.
Mm-hmm. But coming back to what we were talking about, from the 60s, Green Acres is good. Most people don't realize if it wasn't Green Acres, Petticoat Junction, Beverly Hillbillies is all by the same set of people, Paul Hennig, that.
Yes, that connection, the Paul Hennig connection, yeah.
If I had to pick my favorite top comedy series of the 1960s, that's easy. Bewitched. I'm sorry.
You love Bewitched? Aw.
But it has to be the Dick York. The Dick York.
I know. We all have this affinity to the original.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with Dick Sargent, but you could tell the difference in the chemistry between Sam
absolutely.
And Darren at that point. So,
Steve, do you think maybe you should check if there are any comments? I don't know if you have any comments or. I can't believe we're 23 minutes into the show.
Yeah, actually, there's one. I want good morning, Sharon Jackson. How are you? I hope you're having a nice Sunday.
How are you? It was nice talking with you yesterday.
I'm sorry that I'm so late getting to chat, or the comments, but that's the only one that I have for right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I may have another comment coming up shortly. I don't know. I've got 4 people watching me at the moment. So.
Oh, that's nice. Very nice. Good. Thank you. That's great.
Yeah.
We were going to talk about breakfast too, if you had wanted to. I don't know if you're finished with this original subject that you wanted to.
The only other thing I was going to include, and I'm sure you could probably, resonate with me because, that was your teenage years, but, television of the 70s, that's probably the only decade I haven't covered is, I still like Mannix, of course, that's also a bleed over from the 60s.
Yeah, that's right.
Cannon, Barnaby Jones, Police Story, Police Woman. Most people don't remember Angie Dickinson's version, which was a spinoff of Police Story.
I remember.
Yeah. You know, of course, all the comedies like Sanford and Son and, you know, oh, geez, Maude, All in the Family, The Jeffersons, One Day at a Time. You know, again, Norman Lear pretty much dominated TV in the 70s. I mean, that was like...
You're right. He did.
I mean, at the time, he was like breakthrough television because he really did change TV. I mean, he really made what the true definition of a situation comedy. He really took those words and made something out of it because he really put the way that the scripts were written and the way the actors and the actresses, you know, communicated and reacted. You saw a situation happening.
Right.
Whereas in the 60s, it wasn't so much that way.
Right.
80s, I guess it depended on the storyline, but again, I think it was mellowing out. But Norman, you know, he had the upper hand at that point.
He really ruled. He really, really ruled.
Oh, and of course,
go ahead.
And of course, I don't want to leave out Mary Tyler Moore, Bob Newhart, Rhoda.
No.
Speaking of Cloris Leachman, it was a bad idea. They decided to spin Phyllis off, which that wasn't a great idea, only because her character was not.
Yeah, she was a great actress, but the character was a negative character,
right?
And maybe people didn't want to see this negativity character type thing.
No.
Yeah.
So,
and yet she worked out so well with The Facts of Life.
Yeah.
Lovable.
That's why I always say not every role is made for every actor or actress.
It's true.
You know, they do the role, and some is just like, nah, we'll just stick you in there, but the role just never really fit them. You know, the only other TV show I can think of to slip in, again, starting about 1980 to like 86. I was a fan of Too Close for Comfort. Most people forget about that one.
Oh, I loved that show.
With
that
Ted
used to be back to back with Kate and Allie in syndication rerun on Nick years ago.
Yeah, yep. So
I couldn't wait to run home from teaching school. I was like, okay, that's it. I need my hour of decompression. My daughter would go off to her TV with her shows, and I'd zone out with my TV, with my shows, and life was grand for 1 hour of the day. You know, you're decompressing from teaching 42 kids. You got to come back home and decompress.
Yeah.
They fit the bill.
You know, again, that's to give people an idea. Again, I also liked Rat Patrol. I did like My Outer Limits. I did Hitchcock. If you go back into the 50s, I forgot Hazel. Father Knows Best. Make Room for Daddy. I Love Lucy. The Lucy and Desi Comedy Hour. Oh, this is really going to throw people. Yeah, I did like Jack Parr. People are thinking, and I know it took you by surprise. What does a young man of that age know about Jack Parr? Well, I know that. Oh, well, he was on the Tonight Show, if I remember correctly, before Johnny Carson.
He was great.
Yeah, I also know who Jack Benny is.
That's right.
So I cover. So when it comes to TV shows, I'm pretty much all over the place. I really don't have an exact favorite. So that gives, you know, my subscribers, if they're curious, you know, what I like. Yeah. So
I think it's sad. But this is really going to show my age. I don't care. I am 62. I think it's sad that we've gotten to a point where we're watching, I'm not mentioning names of shows, but medical procedures that are very grotesque watching as a form of entertainment. I could see it as, like, if you go into show it and portray it as a medical interest show, but trying to portray this thing as entertainment, no. I think we need to get a little more creative, but then again, what do I know? I'm just Jan from New York City, Saves Money channel, but it could be a little more entertaining for the folks, make them
Yeah.
laugh.
Yeah, so, I don't really know much more I can expand on that. Now, coming back to my early teenage years, I would probably have to say, like, right at the end of my preteen, going into my teen years, all we knew at the time was 3 networks. And then all of a sudden, here comes this network called FOX. What is Fox? So as soon as Fox comes out, here comes this TV series, 21 Jump Street. Okay, wow.
Wow is right. Ask any girl in my age bracket. We were calling each other up going, who's that guy?
Who's this actor, Johnny Depp? Of course, back then, nobody knew who he was. And then Holly Robinson and, one of Dom DeLuise's sons was on there, too.
Oh, my God, so cute.
Right. And then later that day or later that night, Sunday night lineup, you had Married with Children, but I liked that show up to a certain point.
Yeah, me too. I mean, there's only so much you could tolerate it. And I noticed something about the character of the wife. She tried really hard to be a weird Lily Munster, putting her arms up like this, running back and forth, and trying to be Lily Munster in a raunchy sense, because Lily Munster is one of my favorite iconic characters, but it was destroyed on that show.
Yeah, Married with Children. Again, it has to be the episodes with Marcy's first husband. Ted McGinley is a good actor. He was good on Happy Days. He was good on The Love Boat, which is another couple of shows I used to like to watch as well. But that role was not made for him. Then, if I remember, then you had the Tracy Ullman show. Tracy Ullman was great.
Yes.
If you didn't,
who directed that one? Remember what you told me? Who directed that one?
Most people don't realize the director of the Tracy Ullman show was Donald Hollinger, or Ted Bessel, of That Girl. He had his name.
Ted Bessel.
If it wasn't for the Tracy Ullman show, there would be no Simpsons because they used to do little skits in between.
Right. And then Whitney Blake, the mom on Hazel, beautiful woman. A couple of factoids that you pointed out, that you pointed out to me, that she's the mother of what was her name? What was her name again?
Family Ties, Meredith Baxter Birney.
Meredith Baxter Birney. Well, she used to be Meredith Baxter Birney, but I think it's just now shortened to Meredith Baxter.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it is now, but Meredith Baxter. And what's the other fact about the same lady, Whitney Blake? What show did she produce with her husband? An 80s show.
Let's see. One of the ones
70s/80s.
Yeah, One Day at a Time. But I know she had her hand in other things too. Right now, it's just not coming to mind. But Family Ties was another good one.
Again, so these celebrities that are in front of our faces and on reruns, we think they are a part of our life forever, because thanks to the marvel of recordings, when they really leave us, like in the earthly sense, you do feel a sense of loss. When I heard the bad news, like back to back this week, triple actually, including the gentleman, that actor from oh gosh, where's my brain? You know who I mean, the one that you mentioned. When I see his face, the gentleman that passed this week that you just mentioned, what was his name?
You mean the one that played Julio on?
Yeah, Sierra, right? His last name is Sierra?
Yeah, Gregory.
Okay. Gregory. I felt so badly. It's just like, wow, Oh. Anyway, we don't want to depress anyone, but we're just honoring them and appreciating them. That's really pretty much the basis of that. You want to start talking about breakfast for a minute or two?
Yeah, let's do that. I think I've ran my mouth enough about TV, but I mean,
That's okay. That's okay. We're just hanging out. It's Sunday morning. We don't have an agenda. We're just hanging out. I just want to mention, in my honest opinion, and I can be wrong, it's an opinion, waffles are the most underrated breakfast mention. And that's a mistake because you could go to the grocery store and buy a box of frozen waffles. I believe they're usually 10 in a box. They're fairly large. And here's what I mean by overlook. You could do a number of things with them. Can I give them a couple of quick tips on that? Thank you. You know what I like to do? You take a waffle, follow the toaster instructions. Sometimes you have to pop it down twice. If it's not the way you like it, pop it down your toaster twice to get it to the right thing, but monitor it, okay? When it comes out, just drizzle a little bit of honey, good quality honey or whatever you have, honey, and then slam down on top of that a dusting, just a gentle dusting of powdered sugar. I'm telling you, Steve, it tastes like something you get at a carnival. It tastes like one of those carnival treats.
Oh.
And not greasy, not greasy. It's really, really good that way. My mom, bless her heart, she used to like to take a little bit of ice cream and put it down on top of a waffle, cover it, and she made a little bit of an ice cream sandwich with that, which is really, really good.
I see.
And remember, I used to do that trick too with the graham crackers, Steve. Remember, I used to do that trick with graham crackers and Cool Whip.
I did that. I tried that.
Isn't it yummy?
Yeah, it is. You stick it in the freezer for an hour or two, and
it's so good. So anyway, but waffles are underrated. And if you run out of bread, many times you think you don't have a bread thing. If you have a box of waffles in your freezer, frozen waffles, you got your bread. I learned an interesting trick on a show called, what was her name? I'm really starting to forget things. I definitely don't like that. Was a girl on the Food Network, and she did like dietary shows. Okay, Something Girl, whatever it was, Something Girl, not Thin Girl, something like that. And what she would do with her waffles, she would make scrambled eggs and put it on top of the waffle and cover it, and you got a huge sandwich and not that many carbs in it. Just have to read the label. You can even just take one, cut it in half, and put one scrambled egg on it. It's filling. You don't have to go to an expensive place. Breakfast foods are the most inexpensive foods, and you can interchange them for every single meal. In a few days, I'm going to do a show about how to do a 1-month grocery haul. I'm going to give the list. The other time was 2 weeks. Now we're going to do the 1 month. But this is for either a single person or a person living with someone else. And that's it for, a household of 2, 1 month. I don't love grocery shopping. Some people do. No judgment. I don't love it. And hopefully I won't get judgment for it. I don't love it. I'd rather be doing other things than hanging out in the grocery store. But there are ways to getting your best value. So that's going to be coming up in a few days.
I do know the show you're talking about on the Food Network. You're right. It is Something Girl.
Something Girl. This is bothering. Not Skinny Girl. Something Girl.
You know what? Hold on, just
Hungry Girl. The Hungry Girl. Yay!
Is that what it is? Okay. Hungry Girl. Okay.
She taught a number of tricks that you love to hear. One such is, like, if you want to make a chocolate cupcakes or muffin type thing, take a half a box of a Devil's Food mix, combine believe it's just a half a small can of regular pumpkin, not sweet pumpkin, regular pumpkin. Put it together, no eggs. That's it. Bake it off. Done. Imagine chocolate, pumpkin, 2 ingredients, less fat, less calories. You got a little bit of that healthy kick from the pumpkin. I think that sounds like a winner. Plus, you could do that with a can of soda, a can of diet soda. Take a Devil's Food cake, half a box, and I believe the measurement is 1 can of, let's say, cherry cola or cherry soda, whatever it is, or whatever flavor you like.
Whatever. Hmm.
And you just put it, if you don't like diet soda, just enter a seltzer if you want. And just put in that amount, that to the box cake mix. That's it. Imagine. And it bakes up like magic. So anyone could try that.
That's simple enough. Okay.
And by the way, cost effective. You're not using an egg. You're not using. I get so angry when I see the box directions go for a third of a cup of oil. Who needs that extra calories? I've substituted and swapped it out with 1 or 2 capfuls instead. Work just the same. 4 eggs. No, you could get away with usually 2. This is my opinion. Give it a whirl. It's worth a try.
Let me bleed back over to the comments. I never thought of this trick that Sharon Jackson just happened to contribute. She says, when I make pancakes, all right, wait a minute. Okay. She says when she makes pancakes, she likes to drizzle a little syrup on top of it before she flips it over. I see the
Oh,
I see the theory behind that. What that's going to do is give you that mapley syrupy taste.
yeah. Yum.
And then she wrote, "Oops, it looks like I need to put my glasses on before I." Oh no, you're fine. I mean, as long as you got the gist of.
I
what
love
you're
Sharon.
doing.
Sharon, I love you. Oh, Sharon, I might have a date with you again this afternoon. It was great talking with you yesterday. By the way, another thing that I like to throw, thank you for the reminder of that method, Sharon and Steve. I like to put in a pinch of cinnamon and a pinch of nutmeg, and it gives it almost like a donut-like taste.
It does. I've done that.
And what about pumpkin spice, right? What did you mention about years ago when you went to IHOP?
Yeah, IHOP. I would always during especially during the fall when they were available, I would order pumpkin pancakes. So this one time, I just took the liberty and asked, "What do you put in these pancakes to make it taste like this?" At the time, I didn't think about how simple the answer was. She says, "Oh, all they do is sprinkle pumpkin pie spice that you use in what you use to make a pumpkin pie in the back. They just mix that in the batter." I said, "Are you
Wow.
serious?" I said, "That's it." Guess what I did after that? I made my own pancakes at home. And I saved myself at least a good $7 or $8
Wow.
at that time. I don't know what it is.
Wow. 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 Not for anything, but in my opinion, to go out for breakfast is one of the least expensive meals of the day. It reminds me of when a person goes to an Italian restaurant and orders a plate of spaghetti. What? How much is a box of spaghetti at home? How much is the sauce you create yourself, or just buy a jar for $1 when you get it, on sale with a coupon or whatever? To go to all that trouble, wear and tear on your gas and all that. If you're going to do it, if you're going to go out to the restaurant, get something a little better than spaghetti, or just don't bother to go. This is, again, my mother was in the restaurant business. She worked in a restaurant many years as a bookkeeper. Okay, my mother was more of a bean counter than me. So, but anyway, making a long story short, bless her heart, she used to say to me, it just blew her mind when people would just go there and spend $8 for a plate of spaghetti.
Yeah.
Think about that. It's ridiculous. If you're going to get something, get something. Just saying.
That's it.
To pay a ton of money for breakfast when you could do it easily at home. Like I said, everybody deserves a quote. I don't know about the word. Everybody should desire a treat. Anyway. Well, anyway, Is that it for you, Steve?
I can't think of anything else. I think we pretty much,
There
covered.
is one thing you forgot to mention, so I'm going to do it. Don't forget to please like, share, and subscribe to Steve Young Pine's channel.
Oh, well, yeah.
I do that all the time. I have beautiful subscribers. I'm telling you, loyal people that I'll be on a live and I'll be like going into the comment section. And then thankfully, they'll remind me to please don't forget to share, to press like and all that stuff. God bless all of you. Because sometimes we get a little thrown when you're on the other side of the screen because we're looking at things that you guys can't see. Okay.
Right.
Like countdowns, people, signals, this, that, and the other thing. And it could be like really, really like weird, just say it. So, but thank you. Thank you for having me again, Steve.
You're welcome. Oh, my pleasure. It's been, like I said, I'm trying to put a little bit more on Facebook. Listen to me on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I had been under the weather here in the last 2 months off and on. Don't know why. It's not.
No apology needed because it happens. If I can't make a live show, I'm sure the folks understand, they care and they're wonderful people. And, we're human and sometimes we don't feel well or a family issue comes up or whatever beyond our control, a technical issue, definitely technical issues. Telling you.
That's right. Like you say, it happens.
It happens.
Yeah. All right. Well, I do look forward to you guys tuning in next time. Again, like Janet happened to mention, please, by all means,
And tomorrow morning on my show at 6:15 live, we're going to talk about how your emotions, and the way you handle your financials walk hand in hand. I hope to see you there.
Oh, sure. Okay. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. I will see you next time. And, again, Jan, you're always welcome. I always.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad to be a channel contributor.
Likewise. Me too. So,
and thank you for being mine.
Yeah. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.